Hello, I'm Kieran, and this is the reading of Chapter 9 of A Silent Kind of Strength by Kitten Crusade on AO3. Chapter 9. If losing consciousness was like falling, waking up was like sinking. Like the realm of deep sleep he was trapped in was a mere land he had tripped into, and he had to wait for someone to flip the glass over so he could slip back through the silver mire he was stuck in. The first sensation he had felt when he entered the space between awake and not was warmth. It was never warm when he went to bed during the fall and winter. He kept the heater turned to the lowest setting he could stand in an effort to save his mom some money. So the fact that his toes weren't icicles was deeply confusing. He then noticed a smell. Instead of the smell of emptiness, of dust and faint musk that had never quite left no matter how much he cleaned. There was cinnamon and strawberries, and an underlying tang of motor oil and metal. It should probably smell gross, but it wasn't. He listened lazily to the soft, almost wave-like sound that was originating from somewhere near his shoulder, just enjoying how rhythmic and even it was. Calm. After a while, he realized his face was a bit itchy. He started to lift his hand to scratch, but it felt weighed down. Bleary green eyes cracked open. He was a man of science, and his curiosity piqued at this weirdly heavy hand. It took him a moment for his eyes to focus. Honestly, he felt so drained, like that time he pulled 3 all-nighters in a row to finish his hearing aids. Eventually, green eyes drifted downwards from an unfamiliar ceiling and landed on long, pale fingers that were wrapped gently around his own calloused digits. He followed the fingers to the hand, then arm, and up until he got to a mass of purple fluff propped up on the edge of an ugly red couch. An ugly red couch he was apparently laying on. Beyond the floofy indigo haze, he could make out another form sprawled onto the pile of pillows on the floor. His fingers twitched as he was distracted by a small snore, obviously originating from the violet cloud. His gaze drifted back from where it had wandered around the blurry room. TV in the center, coffee table pushed aside, a couple of mismatched armchairs, shelves stuffed full of books and manuals. His other hand lifting to scratch at the thing taped to his face. His bleary brain finally placed the distracting fuzz. Shinso, he slurred through a yawn, then flinched as his friend's head immediately snapped up. Izuku, you're awake! Green eyes blinked in confusion. Yeah? The smaller boy's heart dropped when he noticed the tears in his friend's eyes. Thank the gods, Izuku, you scared all the 9 circles of hell right out of us. Suddenly, his blurry memories came back in a flood of disjointed sensations. He felt sick, overwhelmed. They knew. He spent his whole life hiding how bad things were at school. But now his friends, his wonderful friends, knew how useless he was. Stupid, weak Deku. All those years of self-defense classes and you still can't protect yourself. He felt fingers brushing his cheek, and he looked back at Shinso, who was wiping his tears away. Why was he crying? Hey, calm down now, okay? We're going to figure this out, but you need to stop crying. You have a concussion. Crying is only going to make things worse. Sorry. It's okay. You're okay. Hey, mate, do you mind going to get your mom? Izuku hadn't even noticed that his other friend had woken up, but she was out of the room before he could really focus on her, so he zeroed his scattered attention back in on Shinso. His gaze locked on violet eyes, and he felt himself be soothed, hating himself for being so weak. It was only a few minutes before May was back with Mia and a stranger. She looked familiar, but he couldn't quite place her. An older lady with her hair in a simple bun, wearing a lab coat. His thoughts drifted a bit as he pondered her existence. When he next focused back in, Shinso had moved to sit on the arm of the couch above his head, and the lady was checking Izuku's vitals. That's when his attention was grabbed by a garish horse design on the back of the couch. What the hell? Why? A gentle tap on his shoulder had him snapping his eyes back to the older woman. Dear, how are you feeling? I wasn't able to heal you too much because of your lack of energy. But now you've been asleep for a while, I should be able to ease the worst of your injuries. Can you tell me what's bothering you the most? Are you a doctor? He asked, thoroughly confused by her. I'm a field medic, dearie. I'm here to help. Izuku tilted his head a bit in thought as the final piece his scattered brain needed was slotted into place. Recovery girl? The old lady smiled down at him and patted his shoulder. That's right. Now, can you tell me where it hurts? I need to know if you should be taken to a facility. She gently tried to steer his thoughts into the right direction. The boy wasn't having it, though. He made a distracted, non-committal noise. There's no need, ma'am. Taking me anywhere would be a waste of time, at best. Hospitals don't like Quirkless. You've already done so much more than me than they would have. His eyes drifted back to the distracting horses running across the back of the couch. He missed the horrified looks between his friends and the tired resignation that splashed across the recovery girl's face. Is that why you didn't want to go to the hospital? Mia asked, trying to keep her voice steady despite the rolling emotions. No, the closest hospital to the school is the one Mom works at. Her supervisor had made it known that if I come in and bother them too much, she'll lose her job. It's the only one she's been able to get that pays well enough, so I haven't even gone to see her there in, I don't know, 4 years? He traces his fingers across the withers of a prancing bay. Why horses? May snorts. It sounds a bit like a sniffle, but Izuku doesn't really notice. It's Hatsume-san that replies, though. My old college roommate was from America. She bought the couch when she got her first apartment year because it reminded her of home. When she moved back a few years ago, I took it because it was the most comfortable couch I've ever drunkenly slept on. That got a smile out of the brunette. What a nice memory of a friend. His focus was once more brought back with a pat on his shoulder from the youthful heroine. Midoriya-kun, do your ribs hurt? She asked, changing tactics to try and keep him on task. Not as bad as my head, but yeah. There we go, the older lady says to herself as she pulls out the penlight to check his pupils. He winced at the bright light and the heroine sighs. All right, I think you should be fine with another round of healing and a few weeks of taking it easy. First, though, you should call your mom and let her know what's going on. The boy frowned. Can it wait until her shift is over? She's always freaking out when she knows that I'm hurt. Natsume-san kneeled down and ran her fingers gently through his tangled hair, trying to tease out the knots without pulling on anything tender. He practically melted at her gentle touch. Izuku, kiddo, your mom needs to know. We basically kidnapped you from your school. Obagi asked the colleagues of hers to go through the tapes of the hallways so we have proof on everything you needed for help. But your mother needs to be notified so she can press charges if she chooses. We would have already called her, but I guess I taught you too much coding because I couldn't break your phone's password. The green teen hummed, reaching for the phone that was held out to him. It's fingerprint locked. If you don't have my fingerprint, it requires a 50-digit code to get in. It makes it take a while for any hacking software. The woman grinned at him proudly. Simple but effective. How do you remember the numbers? He pressed talk on his mom's contact. The video calls were better for him, but he didn't know what he looked like right then, so he wasn't going to risk it. It's the first 50 numbers of pi. Recovery Girl looked incredulous at that, but Mia and her daughter cackled, and he heard Shinso let out a soft snort in amusement. Inko answered the phone. Hello, Izuku. Shouldn't you be at school? Hi, Mom. Yeah, sorry about that. I had an incident with some classmates, and I got a bit banged up. Izuku? He flinched at the sound of her stress. Hey, it's okay. I called a friend, and her mom came and got me. She had someone patch me up, so I'm all good. Please don't worry, Mom. What friend, Izuku? Mei-chan. I know I've mentioned her over dinner and stuff. Not that there had been many dinners together over the last few months. I see. She sounds disbelieving, as if she hadn't thought he was telling the truth about making a friend. May I talk to the mother, please? Sure. Hatsume-san? He hands off the phone to Mia, who smiles at him and stands, carrying the device out of the room. He was sad to lose the hand in his hair. He hadn't realized how comforting it had been when it was gone. Shinso seemed to sense this, though. He started where the woman had left off. Izuku felt himself untense immediately, only slightly embarrassed when his friend chuckled at him. As they waited on whatever the phone call entailed, Recovery Girl went back to doing her checkup, lifting his shirt to check bandages and bruising, asking simple questions, and getting rambled and disjointed answers. They had just finished up when May's mom returned, tossing red dreads over her shoulder and frowning slightly. She asked if you would be okay staying here for a day or two, Izuku. Apparently she had been pushed to take extra shift for the week and there's no one else to cover for her. He smiled at her gently, ignoring the sinking feeling in his chest. He had hoped his mom would at least get the night off. He hadn't seen her in 2 weeks. It would have been nice. That's fine. The hospital's always so understaffed. All the villain attacks and whatnot. I can just go home and sleep it off. I wouldn't want to be in your way, Hatsume-san. That drew another frown, and he did his best to not flinch at the disapproval in her stance. You are staying right there, mister. You are in no shape to be left alone at the moment. So for the next 2 days, you are not allowed off that couch. You hear me? He nodded quickly, and then tried to not puke as his head spun from the movement. Recovery Girl sighed. Okay, dear. I'm going to use my quirk on you again. I'll leave a care plan written out for you when you wake up. I suspect sometime tomorrow my coworker will come by with the video and ask you to call your mom again and see what she wants done. Izuku hummed again, knowing that nothing would happen even if they did go to court, but too distracted tracing the patterns on the couch again to say so. There was a light touch on his shoulder, and he looked up to see where Shinso was watching him, seeing the other boy upside down from this angle. I'm glad you're going to be okay, Izuku. He couldn't help the sweet smile that crossed his face at those words. Green eyes crinkled slightly. He felt the healer grab his hand, and something pressed to it. The last thing he saw as he fell back into the sweet embrace of sleep was once again the perfect field of violence and quicksilver.